Oligopoly is a market structure that contains a small number of relatively large firms. The three most important characteristics of oligopoly are: first, the most important characteristics of oligopoly is an industry dominated by a small number of large firms, each of which is relatively large compared to the overall size of the market. These characteristics give each of the relatively large firms substantial market control. Second, some oligopolistic industries produce identical products while others produce differentiated products. Identical product oligopoly. This type of oligopoly tends to process raw materials or produce intermediate goods that are used as inputs by other industries. Notable examples are petroleum, steel, and aluminum. Differentiated product oligopoly. This type of oligopoly tends to focus on goods sold for personal consumption. The key is that people have different wants and needs and thus enjoys variety. Third, the industry has significant barriers to entry. Firms in an oligopolistic industry attain and retain market control through barriers to entry. The most noted entry barriers are exclusive resource ownership, patent and copyrights, other government restriction, and high startup cost.
Oligopolistic industry share differences, including one, interdependence. Strong oligopolistic industry keeps a close eye on the activities of other firms in the industry. Because oligopolistic firms engage in competition among the few, decisions made by one firm invariably affect others. 2. Rigid prices. Oligopolistic industries tend to keep prices relatively constant, preferring to compete in ways that do not involve changing the price. The prime reason for rigid prices rests with the interdependence among oligopolistic firms. 3. Non-price competition. Because oligopolistic firms realize that price competition is ineffective, they generally rely on non-price methods of competition. The more common methods of non-price competition are advertising. A large share of commercial advertising, especially at the national level, is designed as non-price competition among oligopolistic firms. Product differentiation. Such firms often compete by offering a bigger, better, faster, cleaner, and newer product, and especially one that is different from the competition. 4. Mergers. Because oligopoly has a small number of firms, the incentive to cooperate through merger is quite high. The merger of the oligopolistic firms, each with 1/3 of the market, greatly enhances the market control of the new firm. 5. Collusion. The incentive among oligopolistic firms to cooperate also takes the form of collusion. Collusion occurs when two or more firms secretly agree to control prices, production, or other aspects of the market.
Oligopoly examples. Real-world markets are heavily populated by oligopoly. Automobiles, and the top of the list is the market of cars, which has been one of the most important industries in this country for decades. A handful of firms, especially Honda, Suzuki, and Toyota. Petroleum, an industry closely tied to the market for cars, is the extraction and refinement of petroleum. A few representatives in this market include Shell and Total. Low-cost carrier airlines. The LCC airline industry has been dominated by a small number of firms, and for today there is 3 firms that dominated LCC airlines in Indonesia, Lion Air, AirAsia, and Citylink.
Very few markets or industries in the real world are perfectly competitive. For example, how homogeneous is the output of real firms, given that even the smallest of firms working in manufacturing or services try to differentiate their product. In economics and general equilibrium theory, a perfect market is defined by several conditions, collectively called perfect competition. These conditions are a large number of buyers and sellers, a large number of consumers with a willingness and ability to buy the product at a certain price, and a large number of producers with the willingness and ability to supply the product at a certain price. Perfect information. All consumers and producers know all prices of product and utilities each person would get from owning each product. Homogeneous products. The products are perfect substitutes for each other. For example, the qualities and characteristics of a market good or service do not vary between different suppliers. Well-defined property rights. These determine what may be sold as well as what rights are conferred on the buyer. No barriers to entry or exit the market. Every participant is a price taker, no participant with market power to set prices. Perfect factor mobility. In the long run, factors of production are perfectly mobile, allowing free long-term adjustment to changing market conditions. Profit maximization of sellers. Firms sell where the most profit is generated, where marginal costs meet marginal revenue. Rational buyers. Buyers make all trades that increase their economic utility and make no trades that do not increase their utility. No externalities. Costs or benefits of an activity do not affect third parties. This criteria also excludes any government intervention. Zero transaction costs. Buyers and sellers do not incur costs in making an exchange of goods in a perfectly competitive market. Non-increasing returns to scale and no network effects. The lack of economies of scale or network effects ensures that there will always be a sufficient number of firms in the industry.
Well, that's very about oligopoly and perfect competition.
And how about this bakso? It's an example of an oligopoly market or a perfect competition.
Absolutely, this is a free market competition because everyone can sell bakso and everyone can determine their selling price with their own.
So there is no barrier to sell bakso, right?
Yes, of course not.
all for our assignment for economic for executive. Thank you, Prof. Roy Samuel. Okay guys, let's go to the EMBA school, the best business internet school in Jakarta.
But how is my bakso?
Oh, okay, okay.